Just as we got the Tecnopop 9 a few weeks ago, Infinix has decided to release their latest entry-level device, the Infinix Smart 9. It starts at the price of around 140,000 naira, which is just around $90 for the 3GB of RAM and 128GB of storage variant. However, there is a 4GB model as well with a slightly higher price. Moving on to the unboxing, the Infinix Smart 9 comes with all the typical accessories you would expect. Nothing more, nothing less. The Infinix Smart 9 rocks the plastic build as expected. The full body is made out of plastic, which is always okay on entry-level devices, and I mean it is durable as well. Plus, it has an IP54 splash and dust resistant rating, which is always welcome. Moving on to the display, this is where I have issues with what Transsion has been doing lately on their devices. But before that, we get a 6.7-inch display with a resolution of 720 by 1612 pixels and support for a 120Hz refresh rate. Now, tell me why your phone says it has a 120Hz refresh rate, but you can only access it in certain areas of the software like the settings app and the app drawer. Everywhere else you get between 60 and 90Hz refresh rate. And trust, if you've used a phone with a good 90Hz panel or even proper 120Hz display, you will notice the difference in this refresh rate. And honestly, I don't really understand this reasoning from Infinix and even Transsion as a whole. I guess they know people like numbers and they just find every way possible to give those numbers on paper without actually, giving those numbers in the best way possible. I mean, it's just like they saying they have 8GB of RAM or 16GB of RAM in their smartphone, whereas in reality they have only 8GB of RAM, and then you get 16GB of RAM using virtual memory. It's a marketing thing and I don't really like it. Just be honest with your customers. If you can only provide 90Hz refresh rate, provide 90Hz refresh rate. There is no need for 120Hz refresh rate that only works in the settings app or the app drawer. I mean, who uses that? What's that for? Another issue is the fact that there is an always on display feature, even though this is not an AMOLED or an OLED display. I personally think it's a waste of battery, but I guess it's fine since it's not always on, which kind of defeats the purpose. I mean, what's always on if it's not always on? Like, do you get? That said, still on the display, the Infinix Smart 9's display is okay for day-to-day content consumption. It's an IPS LCD panel, so it has good viewing angles and okay color reproduction. And for those who are wondering, it can get up to 500 nits in brightness, which is kind of the standard for entry-level devices. It is not too bright under direct sunlight. But on the bright side, the Infinix Smart 9 sports a stereo speaker setup, which is an upgrade from the Smart 8, which means listening to audio is clearer and more defined than before. So thumbs up for that. Plus, there is the fact that there is still a headphone jack in case you need it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time we will be getting a MediaTek Helio G chipset on an Infinix Smart. The MediaTek Helio G81 in this case. It's a newer 12nm chipset, and the main upside to it is that it can run higher refresh rate displays. In short, it's exactly the same as the older Helio G85 chipset. Expect to see more of these chipsets in Transsion devices. Itel, I am looking at you guys. When it comes to day-to-day performance, the Infinix Smart 9 does okay as you would expect from an entry-level device. However, when it comes to gaming, although they will run, it will be at the lowest settings or at medium settings at the best possible scenario. But do keep in mind that you will get frame drops, especially when the device gets hot. Software is same old, honestly. Android 14 this time, but it is the Go edition, which means not all apps will be available for download on the Play Store. It also comes with the typical ads and bloatware and fan favorite features of Infinix, such as the dynamic bar, which even got a couple of new features this time around. Powering the Infinix Smart 9 is a 5000 mAh battery, which is cool and all, but then you realize that it can only charge at the maximum of 10 watts, which some might say is fine. I mean, you get a 5000 mAh battery that will last you through the whole day and even more if you don't use your smartphone that much. But you are wrong. 5000 mAh battery charging at 10 watts is certainly not good in 2024. I mean, you are looking at charging times of up to 3 hours, which is a lot. If anything, Tecno or rather Infinix should have given us at least 18 watts fast charging. That would have been better. But hey, let's see if that will be coming on the Infinix Smart 9 Pro. I think we should be getting an Infinix Smart 9 Pro. Maybe, maybe not. Let's see. Alright, moving on to the cameras, Infinix has finally decided to do something new with their camera bump. Although it looks like two cameras, we get just one. It's a 30 megapixel shooter with two LED flashes. The last camera is just for decoration. Honestly, like, how do they keep getting away with this? Anyways, the thing about entry-level devices is that they require adequate lighting conditions to get the best experience. So if you want to take any photos, I'll just advise you to do it outdoors where there is enough light. If you take photos indoors, there will be grains, and if you take photos in dimly lit environments, you won't get the best results from it. It can shoot videos up to 1080p 30 frames per second, which is the same for the 8 megapixel selfie camera as well. Securing the Infinix Smart 9 is the side-mounted fingerprint scanner, which is alright. There is also the less secure face unlock as well if you want that option. Anyways, what do you think of the Infinix Smart 9? Personally, I see it as a worthy or a worthy-ish upgrade from the Infinix Smart 8, which is a good thing, I guess. And the only complaints I have is when it comes to the Infinix deceptive marketing. I really think they should just come clean and give us the rough specs and not all this 120 Hz, but you can only get 90 Hz and whatever bullshit. It's not speaking well of Infinix. But yeah, let me know your own thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.